Welcome to Closer to God in 15 minutes or less cooking. You might remember my first cooking video was on the history and culture of Louisiana cuisine. And in that video, I emphasized how important hunting and fishing and gathering was to authentic Louisiana cuisine. And so I thought that my first real cooking video would be on a venison roast. Now, I know that some of you have philosophical problems with hunting, and I understand that and I respect that. But allow me just a minute or two to say a few things. Is that hunting and fishing, the outdoor industry contributes $1.2 trillion of income to the U.S. economy in 2023 and funded over 5 million jobs nationwide. And you know, something I think that we should know too is that all of these wildlife and fisheries programs and habitat management, they're all user funded. By that I mean there's no state income tax that funds our wildlife programs. There's no federal income tax that funds these programs. It's all by, you know, hunting licenses, fishing licenses, boat registration, and things like that. Furthermore, there's the genius of the Pittman-Robertson Act that places a 5% excise tax on all sporting equipment, boats, ammos, guns, tents, you name it. And that 5% is completely dedicated to wildlife management and creation of wildlife management areas and refuges here. And you should know this too, that all of these areas are completely open to the public. You can go bird watching, hiking, camping, free of charge. Also, people who hunt and fish often create benevolent organizations like Hunters for the Hungry that contribute 10 million pounds of meat for the food deprived in our nation. That works out to roughly 40 million meals for the needy every year. So, you know, there are more deer and turkey in the United States now than when the Pilgrims came. And there are countless species have been saved by the creation and preservation of wildlife management habitat that comes through our wildlife and fisheries department here. So, you know, there's a win-win-win situation going on here. And our wildlife and fisheries program in the United States is the envy of the world. So yeah, you know, without further ado, let's just go straight into making a delicious venison pot roast. Just a word about venison. It is a very healthy meat. It's 100% natural, no hormones, no additives. It is very lean. It has less than half the cholesterol of beef. I think mine even has even less than that because of all the trimming that I do. If a recipe calls for beef, you can use venison here. So the first thing is to trim the roast that you have. This is probably the 4th time I've trimmed this, and you cut away everything white. You debone it, you cut away fat, you cut away the silver skin, you cut away the connective tissue here and sinew, because all of that detracts from the flavor. You're going to get a better product here. Yes, it is a lot of work, but once you do this to a deer, you've got red meat for the year. In our family, about 80% of the red meat we eat is venison here. Then you marinate it. I marinate beef, I marinate venison as well. Venison is so lean, as I said, you have to add in some good fat. I put in EVU, extra virgin olive oil here. I put in red cooking wine. I put in my Cajun spice, Tony Chachere. I just absolutely love it. I can't get enough of it here. And then you add your herbs from the garden, rosemary, thyme, parsley, green onions here. You just coat the roast with those herbs here and let it marinate overnight. And then you dredge the whole thing in seasoned flour. Salt and pepper in the flour. You roll the venison roast in there. You sear it on a very hot cast iron skillet here, and that seals in the juices and it browns the outside here. And remember that this brown flour will mix with the natural juices and make kind of a natural gravy at the end here. Then you saute your mushrooms, your onions, and your carrots, and again, very hot cast iron here. This caramelizes the natural sugars in these vegetables here. And in the South, we say you brown the vegetables. Yes, you start getting kind of brown around the edges, and that adds flavor too. after you do all of that, everything goes on top of your marinated and browned roast here, your mushrooms, your carrots, your onions here, to ensure that the roast stays a bit moist. You might want to add a little bit of beef bouillon, or even kind of a thinned packaged gravy you can put on that. But remember that as this cooks down slowly, we're going to braise it low and slow, that it's going to make its own natural gravy, I think, as we'll see. Then everything goes in the oven. I put it at 325 degrees for at least an hour and a half or more. Sometimes I assemble the whole thing overnight and put it in before church and leave it there for the duration. If I do that, I put the temperature at 275 here. And then, you know, after that, hour and a half to 2 hours, or even up to 4 hours at 275, you take it out, and oh gosh, the aroma is terrific. It fills the kitchen as you come in, and you know, it's a great memory for the kids when they're out playing on a cold day and they come in that kitchen and they smell that aroma of that roasted venison here. It's just fantastic. Finally, you plate it up, and you know, we eat with our eyes as well as our taste buds, and smell it as well. You know, arrange it well on the plate here, and then, you know, bon appetit. Delicious. I've entitled this devotion an ode to Esau. It's a bit odd, but give me a few minutes. It's basically the story of Isaac and Rebekah and their twin sons, Jacob and Esau. So get out your Bibles and turn to Genesis chapter 25. The main points are as follows. Rebekah is barren. She prays that she can conceive. She does. She has twins in her womb. They start struggling before they're born. She inquires of the Lord. The Lord tells her, you have two great nations in your womb, but the older will serve the younger. And when they're born, the first baby is red and hairy, and so they call him Esau, which means hairy. And when the second baby is born, he's grasping the heel of Esau, and they call him Jacob, the supplanter or the deceiver. Now, as time goes on, Esau becomes a man of the woods and the field and a hunter, but Jacob stays home near mommy, so to speak. And the Bible clearly says that Rebekah favors Jacob over Esau here. Now, one day Esau comes in from the hunt. He's very, very hungry, and Jacob is preparing a pot of red lentils over the fire. And Esau says, look, I'm about to die of starvation. Give me some of those red lentils here. And Jacob uses this as an opportunity to manipulate Esau and to, quote, steal his birthright. And he tells Esau, yeah, I'll give you something to eat, but you have to swear and transfer your birthright over to me. And impulsively and foolishly, Esau says, whatever, okay, yeah, you have the birthright. Now give me some food to eat. And Jacob does that. Now, fast forward to Genesis chapter 27 here, and this is when the father Isaac is near his death, and he's going to transfer the birthright here. He's going to pray over the firstborn, which is Esau, and he asks Esau, look, I enjoy eating the venison, the meat from the field here, the game from the field. Go out and get me some game and roast it, bring it home and allow me to eat this last meal, and I'll pray a blessing over you. And Esau does that. Well, Rebekah hears this, and she disguises Jacob like Esau. She puts on some lamb's wool on his arms there, and she puts on Esau's hunting clothes, so he'll smell like Esau. There, she roasts a lamb like it's game from the field, and brings Jacob disguised like Esau to her aged husband who can't see well. But he suspects something's up. He says, you know, you smell like Esau. Here you feel like Esau, but your voice is Jacob's. And he says straight to Jacob, are you my son Esau? And Jacob lied. He says, I am Esau. And so Isaac prays the blessing over Jacob and not Esau. Well, Esau comes back in from the field. He wants the blessing. It's already been prayed over Isaac, and he pleads with his father, you know, give me blessing, and he does, but it's a lesser blessing. And Esau cried bitterly about what happened, and he vowed to kill his brother Jacob. Well, Rebekah hears this. And she sends she sends Jacob to a far land for safety. And one day, we go forward to Genesis 32 and 33, Jacob starts coming back home, and he gets word that Esau is coming out to meet him with 400 armed men, and Jacob fears the worst, and he divides his family into two groups. In other words, if Esau attacks this, then at least half my family will be saved. And then this deceiver, he starts sending forth gifts, camels and sheep, in successive waves towards Esau. And finally, Esau comes up, and he says to Jacob, what is all of this? He says, I'm trying to placate your wrath, and he calls him Lord and Master and all of this kind of thing. And Esau says, brother, Esau has forgiven Jacob. He says, brother, I have plenty. I don't need this. God has blessed me and made me a powerful nation, so to speak, already here. What does all this mean for us here? It's a comfort to me. It's a strange comfort to me that, there are persons who seem to always make the wrong decisions, that they have a 50-50 chance of going the right path or the wrong path. They always choose the wrong path here. Well, it's a comfort to me that God does not throw away these persons. Let me give you some other examples real quick. The first two brothers, Cain killed Abel here. And yes, Cain paid for that, but God protected him. He said, anyone who harms Cain, he's going to be avenged by the Lord 7 times over here. We have Hagar and Ishmael as well. We know that story. Hagar was the servant of Sarah, and Sarah was barren, and she wanted to have a child, and so Hagar became the surrogate mother, and she had Ishmael. But then when Sarah conceived, she despised Hagar and the child, and she ordered that they be cast out into the wilderness, which was a death sentence. And when they're out there, they're getting ready to die. The child is crying. Hagar is crying. And the angel of the Lord appears to her and said, the Lord has heard the child crying. Now look up. And God provided a spring of water. And he got them through this terrible crisis. And the Bible says they became a great nation. Now, what's the point of all this for us? I think all of us, either in our immediate family or extended family or our acquaintances, we know and love persons who, for some reason or other, they make bad decisions consistently. Between right and wrong, they almost always choose wrong. Know this. God does not throw those persons away. His hand is still on them, directing in the right path. His arm of salvation is still present, that at any time, they can be redeemed and delivered, and they can be saved. He will not quench a smoking flax. He will not snap off a bended reed. There is mercy in judgment and discipline here. So what's the point? Keep praying. Keep praying. God has not thrown away these persons, and there is hope. Always hope in prayer. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button right below the screen, or you can tap on my YouTube profile picture right here and subscribe. That way you'll be notified as soon as I get out another video. Until next time, God bless.